Hello guys, welcome to Saiyan What Ifs. So in this video, we will see, what if Goku became the final warrior of reality? If you enjoy these kinds of stories, don't forget to show us some love by hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. Your support means the world to us. Now, let's start the story. Chapter 1. Awakening Between Worlds. The world was ending, not slowly, not with the gradual decay of stars or the patient erosion of mountains, but all at once, a catastrophic unraveling of reality itself. Goku stood motionless on what remained of the lookout, watching as existence collapsed around him. The sky had split open like fractured glass, revealing a churning void beyond that consumed matter, energy, and light with equal indifference. Vegeta, Goku shouted over the deafening roar of disintegrating reality. We have to try again. Nearby, the Saiyan Prince dropped to one knee, blood streaming from a gash above his eye. Their fusion had failed, not from lack of precision, but because the fundamental laws that made it possible were breaking down. Kakarot, Vegeta's Voice, held something Goku had rarely heard: defeat. This isn't an enemy we can punch. Chi-Chi and Gohan had already vanished, their existence erased when the first reality fracture tore through Mount Paozu. Bulma and Trunks disappeared when West City folded in on itself like paper in flame. One by one, everyone Goku had ever fought for was simply gone. The horizon buckled, mountains flattening as space itself compressed. Goku's hair flared golden with Super Saiyan energy, but even at his most powerful, he remained helpless against this collapse. This wasn't Frieza or Cell or even Beerus. There was nothing to fight, no one to save, nowhere to escape to. I should have been stronger, Goku whispered, watching the approaching wave of nothingness. For once, Kakarot, I agree with Vegeta's final words cut off as he dissolved into glittering particles that scattered upward into the fracturing sky. Goku closed his eyes, preparing for oblivion. Instead of death, a tingling sensation spread through his body, as if every cell was being gently rearranged. When he opened his eyes, he floated in an endless expanse of swirling, prismatic energy, neither living nor dead, but somewhere in between. Son Goku. The voice came from everywhere and nowhere, familiar yet impossible. Zeno-sama. Goku turned, searching for the childlike deity. What appeared wasn't the Omni King he remembered, but a swirling constellation of light that gradually coalesced into a form that resembled Zeno, though far more ancient and aware. When it spoke, countless voices harmonized into one. What you know as Zeno is merely one aspect of what we are. The being explained. We are the collective consciousness of creation, existing across all realities, maintaining the grand cycle of existence. My family, my friends. Goku's voice cracked. Are they not destroyed, scattered across the multiverse? Your reality experienced what we call a dimensional collapse, an extremely rare event where a universe's foundational laws become unstable. Hope flickered within Goku's chest. Then I can find them. Perhaps, in time. But first, we require your assistance. That is why we preserved you. The being's form shifted, revealing glimpses of infinite realities, some familiar, others wildly different from anything Goku had seen. In each, life flourished in boundless variety. Something threatens the multiverse itself, a force we call the void. It is nothingness given purpose, absence made active. It consumes realities at an accelerating rate. Our usual guardians cannot contain it. And you want me to fight it? Goku asked, his warrior's spirit stirring despite his grief. Not merely fight, become something more. The entity expanded, surrounding Goku with visions of countless battles across infinite dimensions. Throughout all possible realities, all potential timelines, your soul remains uniquely balanced between destruction and creation, between instinct and thought, between power and restraint. The cosmic entity approached, its energy pulsing with ancient purpose. We offer you the role of final warrior of reality, a guardian empowered to move between dimensions, preserve cosmic balance, and protect the multiverse from forces that exist beyond conventional understanding. Goku floated silently, absorbing the magnitude of what was being offered. If I accept, can I save them? Everyone I've lost. The path may lead there, though success is not guaranteed. What is certain is that without intervention, all realities will eventually succumb to the void, including any dimensions where Fragments of your loved ones might exist. Goku's expression hardened with determination. Then I accept. Be warned. This transformation will change you fundamentally. Your ki will merge with the SMIC energy that binds realities together. You will perceive dimensions beyond normal comprehension. The Goku who emerges will not be the same as the one who stands before us now. I've transformed before, Goku said with characteristic simplicity. As long as I remember what I'm fighting for, I'll still be me. The entity seemed to smile, though it had no discernible face. Your essence is why you were chosen. Prepare yourself, Son Goku. The prismatic energy surrounding them intensified, spiraling inward until it converged upon Goku's body. Unlike the violent power-ups he had experienced throughout his life, this transformation began gently, a warmth in his core that gradually expanded outward. His cells vibrated at impossible frequencies, his consciousness expanding beyond its former limits. Goku saw the structure of reality itself, the invisible threads connecting dimensions, the delicate balance of forces that maintained existence. Knowledge flowed into him, of cosmic keypoints where realities intersected, of the language of creation that shaped matter from thought, of wounds in the fabric of existence where the void had already broken through. The pain came suddenly and overwhelmingly. Goku screamed as his body, mind, and soul were simultaneously reconstructed to channel energies no mortal was meant to contain. His Saiyan physiology fought against the transformation, then gradually adapted, incorporating the cosmic energy rather than being consumed by it. When the metamorphosis completed, Goku hovered in the endless expanse, transformed. His appearance remained largely unchanged, but a subtle radiance emanated from within him, not the golden aura of Super Saiyan, but a prismatic shimmer that seemed to both absorb and reflect the colors of creation itself. In his chest, where his heart beat steadily, a small crystalline core of pure reality energy pulsed in rhythm. The transformation is complete, the entity said. You are now the final warrior, the last defender against universal entropy. Goku flexed his hands, feeling strange new energies coursing through his body alongside his familiar ki. This power, it's different from anything I've felt before. Reality ki, the fundamental energy that maintains the structure of existence itself. Use it wisely. Before Goku could ask more questions, the cosmic space around him began to shift, forming into a massive, crystalline structure that extended infinitely in all directions, a nexus where countless dimensional pathways converged. This is the cosmic nexus, the entity explained as its form began to fade. From here, you can access any reality threatened by the void. We have created guardians before, but never have we bestowed this level of cosmic awareness upon a mortal consciousness. You are an experiment, Son Goku, our final hope. Wait, Goku called out, how do I? But the entity had already disappeared, leaving Goku alone in the breathtaking expanse of the Nexus. Crystalline platforms floated at various levels, connected by bridges of solid light. Each platform seemed to anchor a swirling portal that offered glimpses into different realities, some peaceful, others in various states of distress or collapse. Goku approached one portal that pulsed with an urgent red energy. Peering inside, he saw a world of advanced technology being consumed by creeping shadows that devoured matter and energy. People fled screaming as the darkness advanced, and in the midst of the chaos stood a woman frantically working at some kind of technological console. Acting on newfound instinct, Goku reached toward the portal. His hand passed through effortlessly, and without conscious thought, he stepped completely into the unknown dimension. He materialized in what appeared to be a laboratory filled with holographic displays and humming equipment. Alarms blared as the building shook violently. Through massive windows, Goku could see a futuristic cityscape partially consumed by an advancing wall of absolute darkness. The woman at the console spun around, a weapon forming from energy in her hand as she aimed it directly at Goku's chest. Identify yourself immediately, she demanded, her voice steady despite the chaos. She was striking, tall and lithe with copper-colored skin and silver-white hair pulled back in a practical braid. Her eyes were an unusual violet that seemed to calculate a dozen possibilities at once. Goku raised his hands in a peaceful gesture. I'm Goku. I'm here to help. The woman's eyes narrowed skeptically, but another violent tremor shook the laboratory, causing equipment to crash to the floor. Her attention split between Goku and her failing systems. Unless you can somehow neutralize a Class 5-dimensional anomaly, there's nothing anyone can do, she said, turning back to her console. This reality is experiencing total structural failure. Goku stepped closer, feeling drawn to the holographic display she was working on. Strange equations and models flowed across the screen, almost all flashing red with failure indicators. "What's your name?" he asked, studying the patterns of energy displayed in the model. She glanced at him incredulously. "Dr. Lyra Quantum. And you picked a spectacularly bad time for introductions." Despite her dismissive tone, Goku smiled. Something about this woman's determined focus reminded him of Bulma. The memory brought a pang of loss, quickly followed by renewed purpose. "Lyra," he said, more seriously, "I think I can help. I'm not exactly from around here." "Obviously," she muttered, frantically typing. "Your Quantum M signature is completely unlike anything in our dimensional records. But unless you've got the power to rewrite failing reality code, you should be fleeing like everyone else." Instead of answering, Goku closed his eyes, focusing on the new cosmic awareness flowing through him. He could sense the dimensional fractures spreading throughout this reality, cracks in the fundamental structure of existence. And beyond those cracks, something waited, something hungry. Acting on pure instinct, Goku extended his hand. Reality Ki flowed from his core, through his arm, and into the fracturing dimensional space around them. The energy manifested as threads of prismatic light that wove themselves into the fabric of existence, temporarily reinforcing it against collapse. Lyra froze, her fingers hovering above her keyboard as she watched the impossible happening on her monitors. "You're actually stabilizing the quantum field. How are you doing that?" "I'm not entirely sure," Goku admitted. "But it's only temporary. There's something pushing from the other side, something that wants in." As if responding to his words, a massive tremor shook the building. The darkness visible through the windows pulsed, and within it, something took shape. A humanoid figure composed of swirling void energy, its features obscured except for eyes that burned with anti-light. "Void Herald," Goku whispered, the knowledge somehow present in his transformed mind. Lyra's eyes widened in alarm. "What is that thing?" "Trouble," Goku answered, his warrior's instinct taking over. "Keep working on stabilizing your reality. I'll handle this." Before she could protest, Goku phased through the laboratory wall, hovering in the air before the massive entity. Up close, the Void Herald was even more unsettling, a being that appeared to be carved from the absence of existence itself. "Final warrior," it spoke, its voice a discordant whisper that somehow carried across the distance. "Your interference is unwelcome. This reality has been claimed for consumption." Goku's eyes narrowed. "Not while I'm here." The Herald laughed, a sound like reality tearing. "You were newly born to your power. I have prepared 1,000 dimensions for the void. You cannot stop the inevitable." Goku didn't waste breath on further words. He charged forward, drawing on his familiar ki to launch a devastating punch. His fist connected with the Herald's chest, and passed straight through, the void matter parting around his attack like smoke. The Herald's arm elongated, stretching impossibly to wrap around Goku's throat. Where it touched him, he felt a bone-deep coldness and a strange pulling sensation, as if it was trying to unravel his very existence. "Physical attacks are meaningless against that which exists between existence," the Herald mocked. Goku struggled, trying to break free, but conventional strength proved useless against the void matter. Instead, he reached inward, drawing on the crystalline core of reality ki that now resided within him. The energy responded, surrounding his body with a prismatic aura that pushed back against the Herald's grasp. The creature recoiled with a hiss of pain, its arm dissipating where it contacted Goku's aura. "You learn quickly," it snarled. But not quickly enough. The Herald dissolved into a cloud of darkness that streaked toward the laboratory where Lyra worked. Goku's eyes widened in alarm. He teleported instantly, reappearing between the void cloud and the building. "Reality barrier," he shouted instinctively, extending both hands. A transparent dome of prismatic energy formed around the laboratory, deflecting the Herald's attack. The void matter reformed into its humanoid shape, ripples of frustration visible in its featureless face. "The scientist's calculations threaten our purpose. She must be eliminated." Goku's expression hardened. "Why are you doing this?" Why consume entire realities? Consumption is renewal, the herald intoned. The void is the future of all existence. We merely accelerate the inevitable. With that, the herald attacked again, this time splitting into multiple smaller entities that circled Goku like predatory shadows. The Y struck simultaneously from all directions, their void matter claws seeking to penetrate his defenses. Goku responded with a burst of reality ki that expanded outward in a perfect sphere, catching the shadow entities and forcing them back. But maintaining the barrier around the laboratory while defending himself stretched his newfound powers to their limit. Inside the protected building, Lyra worked feverishly, glancing occasionally at the battle raging outside. Her fingers flew across holographic interfaces as she attempted to reinforce the dimensional stability that Goku had temporarily restored. One of the shadow entities found a weakness in Goku's defense, slipping through to slash across his back. Pain lanced through him, deeper than physical, as if the attack had damaged his very connection to existence. Goku faltered, his barrier wavering. The shadow creatures converged, sensing victory. In desperation, Goku remembered something the cosmic entity had told him about reality K. I being the fundamental energy that maintained existence. If that was true, then perhaps. Kaioken, he shouted, drawing on his old technique but channeling it through his new energy. The result was immediate and dramatic. His prismatic aura flared brilliantly, infused with crimson power. The amplification surged through him, multiplying his reality ki exponentially. With a thunderous ki, Goku released a wave of pure creative force, energy designed not to destroy, but to reinforce and solidify existence itself. The wave washed over the shadow entities, forcing them back into a single form as the herald recoiled. Parts of its void matter body crystallizing upon contact with the concentrated reality ki. Impossible, it hissed, clutching its partially solidified arm. You cannot destroy that which exists between existence. Goku smiled grimly. I'm not trying to destroy you. I'm making you real. Understanding and fear flickered in the herald's burning eyes. It backed away, its form becoming unstable. This reality is not worth the cost. We will meet again, final warrior, when you are far from your newfound power's source. With those ominous words, the herald dissolved completely. The darkness retreating from the city as quickly as it had come. The dimensional fractures began to stabilize, the immediate threat averted. Exhausted, Goku lowered himself to the ground outside the laboratory. The reality Kaioken had drained him considerably, but there was satisfaction in knowing he had driven back the herald without destroying it. Something told him that destruction might have played into the void's purposes somehow. The laboratory door slid open, and Lyra emerged cautiously, her violet eyes wide with wonder and scientific curiosity. That was, I don't have adequate term. Analogy to describe what I just witnessed. Goku laughed tiredly, rubbing the back of his head in a gesture that had survived his cosmic transformation. Yeah, I'm still figuring it out myself. Lyra approached, scanning him with a handheld device. Your quantum signature has stabilized, but it's unlike anything in our dimensional records. You're not just from another world, you exist partially outside conventional reality. That sounds about right, Goku agreed, looking up at the sky where stars were once again visible now that the darkness had receded. I was transformed into something called the final warrior of reality. The final. Lyra's scientific composure finally cracked as the implications hit her. There are theories about a cosmic guardian in our oldest texts, but they were considered mythological. She hesitated, then extended her hand formally. I believe I owe you proper thanks, Goku. You saved not just me, but our entire reality. Goku took her hand, noticing how she flinched slightly at the contact, as if his touch carried an electric current. Your world is safe for now, but that thing, the Void Herald, it'll be back. Are others like it? Lyra nodded grimly. My readings confirm it. The dimensional boundaries have been weakened by this attack. We're more vulnerable than before. She looked at him speculatively. You said you're still figuring out your powers. Perhaps we could help each other. What do you mean? I'm the leading expert in quantum dimensional theory at the Universal Science Academy. If your purpose is to fight these Void Heralds, then understanding the science behind what you're doing might help. And frankly, you represent the scientific discovery of a lifetime. Goku considered her offer, His instinct had always been to train physically, to push his body's limits through practice and combat. But this new power was different, tied to energies and principles he barely comprehended. I could use the help, he admitted. But I don't know how long I can stay. There are other realities in danger, and... He trailed off, thinking of his scattered family and friends. I understand, Lyra said quickly, trying to hide her disappointment. But even a few hours of study could. She was interrupted by a sudden tremor that shook the ground beneath them. Unlike the previous dimensional quakes, this felt more like a conventional earthquake. Except for the faint crystalline chime that accompanied it, audible only to Goku's enhanced senses. What was that? Lyra asked, steadying herself against a nearby wall. Goku's expression turned serious. A message. I think I'm being called back to the Nexus. Before Lyra could respond, a swirling portal of prismatic energy opened in the air beside them. Through it, Goku could see the crystalline expanse of the cosmic nexus. You have to go, Lyra observed, poorly concealing her scientific fascination with the portal. Yes, but... Goku paused, struck by a sudden idea. Would you like to come with me? Lyra blinked in surprise. To this Nexus place. You said you wanted to study interdimensional phenomena. What better way than seeing the place where all realities connect? Goku extended his hand. Plus, I could really use someone who understands all this scientific stuff. For a moment, Lyra hesitated, her natural caution warring with scientific curiosity. Then her eyes lit with determination. I'll need my equipment. Give me 2 minutes. She disappeared into the laboratory, returning moments later with a compact bag of instruments and what appeared to be a small computer. I've left instructions for my colleagues, she explained. If I'm not back in 48 hours, they're to continue my work on dimensional stabilization. Goku nodded approvingly. Smart thinking. Occupational requirement, she replied with a small smile, revealing a glimpse of warmth beneath her professional exterior. Now, how exactly does this portal transportation work? Is there a specific quantum frequency I should attune my body to, or just hold my hand? Goku said simply, offering his palm. Lyra hesitated briefly, then placed her slender hand in his much larger one. The contact sent a slight shiver through her that Goku pretended not to notice. Ready? He asked. She nodded, clutching her equipment bag tightly. As ready as one can be for interdimensional travel with a cosmic entity. Goku grinned. That's the spirit. Together, they stepped through the portal, leaving the newly stabilized reality behind. As they traversed the space between dimensions, Lyra gasped, her scientific mind struggling to process the impossible physics of their surroundings. Goku guided her smoothly, his transformed senses navigating the interdimensional currents with instinctive ease. They emerged onto one of the crystalline platforms of the cosmic nexus. Lyra immediately dropped to her knees, overwhelmed by the vastness and complexity of what she was seeing. This defies everything, she whispered, her voice small in the infinite expanse. Every law of physics, every quantum principle. Goku gave her a moment to adjust, watching with amusement as her scientific mind rapidly cycled through shock, disbelief, and finally hungry curiosity. When she finally stood, her violet eyes were alight with wonder. This is where all realities connect, she breathed, turning slowly to talk. In the countless portals that swirled at different levels throughout the nexus. Each one leading to a different dimension, a different version of existence. That's my understanding too, Goku confirmed. Though I'm pretty new to all this myself. Lyra had already begun scanning the environment with one of her devices, muttering technical terminology under her breath. The energy readings are off the charts. This place isn't just connecting dimensions, it's actively maintaining them, like a cosmic switchboard. As they explored the nearest platform, crystalline steps formed beneath their feet, accommodating their movements as if the nexus itself was responding to their presence. Goku felt a strange harmony with the place, as if it recognized him as its guardian. So, Lyra said, finally looking up from her instruments. What exactly called you back here? As if in answer, one of the nearby portals flared with urgent red energy, similar to how Lyra's world had appeared when it was under attack, but even more intense. Within its swirling depths, Goku glimpsed a realm of floating islands and strange winged creatures fleeing from advancing shadows. That, he said grimly, approaching the portal. Another reality under attack. Lyra followed, her scientific detachment giving way to concern as she observed the chaos visible through the dimensional window. The same thing that attacked my world. Similar, but stronger. Goku's enhanced senses detected a more powerful void presence in this dimension, not just a single herald, but something more pervasive. This reality is already deeply infiltrated. He turned to Lyra, his expression serious. I need to go there. You should stay here where it's safe. To his surprise, Lyra straightened her shoulders, clutching her scanning device determinedly. With all due respect, Final Warrior, you said yourself you're still figuring out your abilities. My instruments can analyze the dimensional fractures, possibly identify weaknesses in these void entities that you can exploit. It'll be dangerous, Goku warned. Science often is, she replied with unexpected steel in her voice. Besides, you saved my entire reality. The least I can do is help you save another. Goku studied her for a moment, seeing beyond the logical exterior to the courage beneath. He recognized something familiar in her determination, the same spirit he'd seen in the friends he'd lost. All right, he agreed, but stay close to me. This world looks different from yours. Lyra nodded, making final adjustments to her equipment. What kind of reality are we looking at? Goku peered more closely at the portal. Something more primitive than your world. I see floating islands, structures made of some kind of crystal, and beings that look. He paused, squinting, partially draconic. Fascinating, Lyra murmured. A reality where reptilian evolution dominated over mammalian. Before Goku could respond, a powerful figure appeared through the CHAOS visible in the portal, a female warrior with scaled skin and fierce eyes, fighting desperately against encroaching shadow creatures. Though humanoid in form, her features held distinctly draconic elements, ridged brow, amber eyes with vertical pupils, and what appeared to be vestigial wings at her shoulders. She fought with primal ferocity, wielding dual blades that channeled some kind of elemental energy. But she was clearly losing ground as more void creatures pressed forward. She's in trouble, Goku said, feeling an immediate urge to help the embattled warrior. Wait, Lyra said quickly, adjusting her scanner. Let me get a reading on the dimensional stability first. If it's too far gone. There's no time, Goku interrupted, his Saiyan instincts responding to the battle before him. That warrior is fighting with everything she has. I won't let her face this alone. Without further hesitation, Goku stepped toward the portal. This time, however, he felt resistance, as if the dimensional boundary was thicker. More difficult to penetrate. The connection is weakening, Lyra observed. That reality is starting to detach from the cosmic framework. Goku closed his eyes, focusing his reality key into the portal itself. The prismatic energy flowed from his hands, reinforcing the dimensional doorway until it stabilized. Now we can pass through, he said, offering his hand to Lyra. Ready for another adventure. Lyra took a deep breath, then placed her hand in his. For science, she said with a nervous smile. For science, Goku agreed with a warm grin. And for a warrior who needs our help. Together, they stepped into the portal, toward a world of floating islands and dragon warriors, and toward the mysterious female fighter whose destiny seemed somehow intertwined with Goku's own. As the portal closed behind them, Goku couldn't help but feel that his journey as the final warrior of reality was only just beginning. The crystalline core in his chest pulsed with anticipation, resonating with something hidden in the world they were about to enter, something ancient and powerful that might hold the key to understanding the void itself. And perhaps, somewhere in the infinite expanse of realities, the path to finding his lost family and friends. With that hope burning alongside his warrior's determination, Goku embraced his new purpose as guardian of all existence. Chapter 2. Hearts of Fire and Stone. Gravity shifted violently as they materialized. Goku landed with practiced ease on the floating crystalline island, but Lyra stumbled forward, nearly tumbling over the edge into the endless sky below. His hand shot out, catching her wrist with precise gentleness. Different gravitational constants, she gasped, regaining her footing while simultaneously checking her scanner. Approximately 0.87 of my homeworld's pull, but with unusual directional fluctuations. The islands are moving, Goku observed, releasing her once she was steady. Indeed, the landmass beneath them, a massive crystalline structure veined with what appeared to be rivers of molten energy, was in slow but constant motion, rotating slightly as it drifted through a copper-hued sky. All around them, similar islands floated at various elevations, connected by bridges of light that formed and dissipated as the islands moved closer or farther apart. The air tasted of metal and ozone, crackling with ambient energy that resonated pleasantly with the reality key core in Goku's chest. But beneath that harmonic resonance lurked a dissonant note, the unmistakable void taint he'd sensed from the Nexus. "This reality is beautiful," Lyra whispered, adjusting her instruments. "But heavily compromised. Dimensional integrity at 63% and falling." Before Goku could respond, a war cry split the air. 3 scaled humanoid figures leapt over a nearby ridge, weapons raised. Their leader, a female warrior with copper-gold scales and vestigial wings, was the fighter Goku had observed from the Nexus. Up close, her draconic features were even more pronounced. Ridged brow, amber eyes with vertical pupils, and small horns that curved elegantly from her temples into her mane of crimson hair. "Outsiders," she snarled, twin blades igniting with elemental fire. "Void-touched spies." Lyra stepped behind Goku, hastily adjusting her scanner. "Non-hostile. We're non-hostile." The dragon woman advanced, unmoved. "Void creatures wear many skins. You appeared through a rift, just like them." Goku raised his hands peacefully, keeping his stance relaxed but ready. "We're here to help. I'm Goku, the final warrior." The title still felt strange on his tongue. "This is Lyra, a scientist from another reality." "Empty claims," the warrior scoffed, though uncertainty flickered in her amber eyes. "Prove your nature." Goku considered for a moment, then extended his hand, palm upward. Concentrating, he summoned a small sphere of reality ki, not his familiar blue ki blast, but a swirling orb of prismatic energy that hummed with creative rather than destructive potential. The effect on the dragon warriors was immediate. All 3 dropped to one knee, weapons lowered. "The prismatic one," the leader whispered, her fierce demeanor giving way to momentary awe before she mastered herself, rising with formal dignity. "Legends speak of your coming in the final days. I am Keita, Dragon Princess of the Crystal, sovereignty and last blade of the Ryujin bloodline." Her companions, a heavily muscled male with obsidian scales and a lithe female with iridescent white markings, remained kneeling, heads bowed. "Rise," Goku said, uncomfortable with the reverence. "I'm just here to help with the void incursion." Keita signaled her warriors to stand. "You arrive as our realm fractures. The dragon heart, our reality's cornerstone, weakens under void assault." Her eyes narrowed suspiciously at Lyra. "But you bring a being of science to a realm of spirit." Lyra stepped forward, unintimidated despite the warrior princess towering over her by nearly a foot. "Where I come from, spirit and science are different perspectives on the same truth. My instruments can track dimensional weaknesses that even the final warrior cannot perceive directly." A distant explosion interrupted their exchange, followed by a shockwave that rippled through the floating island, causing smaller crystal formations to shatter. The copper sky darkened momentarily as void tendrils stretched across the horizon. "Debate your philosophies later," Keita declared, sheathing her blades. "The western islands fall to shadow walkers. Our sanctuary, and the dragon heart within, will be next." She turned sharply, scales catching the light like burnished armor. "Follow if you truly came to help, prismatic one. Or return to whatever reality spawned you." With remarkable agility, she leapt toward a crystal formation that extended like a natural bridge toward a larger island floating above them. Her companions followed without hesitation. "Friendly," Lyra muttered, adjusting her equipment bag. Goku smiled. "Reminds me of Vegeta when we first met. Proud warriors often hide uncertainty behind aggression." "Well, she's certainly hiding it effectively," Lyra replied, eyeing the dizzying drop beyond the crystal bridge. "I don't suppose you could." "Of course," Goku said, understanding immediately. He stepped closer, lifting Lyra effortlessly with one arm around her waist. "Hold tight." Lyra's arms locked around his neck, her body tense. "My equipment is delicate, so please." Goku launched upward with careful control, accelerating just out to catch up with the dragon warriors without subjecting Lyra's instruments to excessive G-forces. They soared between floating islands, passing through veils of luminescent particles that clung momentarily to their skin before dissolving. "It's beautiful," Lyra murmured against his shoulder, scientific curiosity temporarily overcoming her discomfort with physical contact. "The crystalline structures aren't random, they're forming fractal patterns consistent with conscious design." Goku nodded, sensing the underlying order himself. "This whole reality feels alive somehow." They landed on a massive island dominated by a fortress carved directly from living crystal. Unlike the modern architecture of Lyra's world, this structure grew organically from the island itself, towers and battlements flowing upward like frozen liquid. Dragon warriors patrolled its walls, many sporting battle wounds from recent conflicts. Keita awaited them at the fortress in trance, her expression guarded. "He Dragon Council will want to question you. Be warned. They trust prophecy over outsiders, even those bearing prismatic energy." "We'll answer honestly," Goku assured her, gently setting Lyra down. "Honesty matters less than usefulness." Keita replied bluntly. "Our reality dies, Prismatic One. Only actions carry weight now." She led them through crystal corridors that thrummed with energy, passing wounded warriors being treated by scaled healers whose hands glowed with amber light. The fortress interior revealed a society mobilized for desperate resistance. Weapon racks, strategic maps, and supply caches occupied every available space. "Your people are fighting hard," Goku observed. "We are Ryujin," Keita said simply, as if that explained everything. "Dragons do not surrender their treasure, and this reality is ours." They entered a vast circular chamber where 7 ancient dragon warriors sat in crystalline thrones arranged around a central pit. Unlike the younger fighters, these elders had developed actual wings, small but functional, and their scales had faded to pale translucence that revealed the fiery energy flowing beneath. "Dragon Council," Keita announced, dropping to one knee. "I present beings from beyond our reality." The golden-haired one manifests prismatic energy. The eldest council member, scales white as snow, eyes like molten gold, leaned forward. "The prophecy of final days speaks of a warrior born of foreign light who wields the energy of creation itself." "Are you this being?" Goku stepped forward. "I'm called the final warrior of reality. I was transformed to fight the void that threatens all dimensions." Murmurs circulated among the council members, a rumbling sound like distant thunder. "Show us," commanded another elder, her wings spreading slightly. Once again, Goku summoned the prismatic energy to his palm. This time, he allowed it to expand, filling the chamber with gentle rainbow light that caused the crystal walls to resonate in harmonic response. The council members exchanged glances, communicating in subtle expressions and wing positions that needed no words. "The prophecy speaks truth," the first elder finally declared. "But your arrival comes late, Prismatic One." The dragon heart weakens. 3 days passed, void creatures breached our lower sanctum. "We've sealed the inner chambers," Keita added, "but our warriors thin with each attack. The shadows grow stronger as our reality fractures." Lyra, who had been quietly scanning the chamber, stepped forward. "If I may, honored council, my readings indicate this reality hasn't merely been invaded. It's being systematically dismantled from within, far more thoroughly than my own dimension was." "Your meaning, small one?" rumbled a particularly massive council member. "The void doesn't just want to consume your reality," Lyra explained, displaying a holographic model from her device. "It's specifically targeting something at your reality's core, this dragon heart you mentioned." Keita's eyes narrowed. "The heart is our sacred treasure and dimensional anchor. None but Ryujin royalty may approach it." "Then take me to it," Goku suggested. "If it's your reality's cornerstone, maybe I can reinforce it with reality key." The council members conferred silently again, wings shifting in complex patterns. Finally, the eldest spoke. "Princess Keita will guide you to the heart chamber. The fate of our reality rests in your hands, Prismatic One." His ancient eyes shifted to Lyra. "The science worker may accompany you. Perhaps both approaches, spirit and knowledge, are needed in these final hours." Keita seemed about to protest but mastered herself with visible effort. "As the council commands, we leave immediately." As they exited the council chamber, a tremendous impact shook the fortress, sending crystal shards raining from the ceiling. Warning horns blared throughout the structure. "Void assault," shouted a warrior, rushing past them. Eastern battlements breached. Kata's expression hardened. The passage to the heart chamber lies east. We must fight through. Let me clear the way, Goku offered. My people die while we debate, she snapped, drawing her twin blades. Elemental fire ignited along their edges. Follow if you can keep pace, Prismatic One. She charged down the corridor, moving with lethal grace. Goku turned to Lyra, who was already securing her equipment. Stay behind me, he instructed. This is about to get dangerous. I'm tracking a massive void signature, she replied, tapping her scanner. Unlike anything in my records. Be careful, Goku. He nodded, then launched forward, catching up to Kata as she engaged the first wave of shadow creatures. Unlike the manifested herald he'd fought in Lyra's reality, these were smaller, faster, wolf-like entities composed of churning darkness with ember eyes. Kata fought magnificently, her dual blades cleaving through shadow matter with practiced precision. But for each creature she dispatched, T.W.O. more emerged from the growing darkness ahead. Goku joined her, channeling reality ki through his hands. Each strike caused the shadow wolves to crystallize briefly before shattering into harmless particles. Together, they pushed forward through the fortress's eastern wing, where battles raged throughout interconnected chambers. Your technique is adequate, Kata conceded between strikes, her breathing controlled despite the exertion. Though you lack proper form. Goku couldn't help but smile as he dispatched 3 shadow creatures with a sweeping energy wave. I usually figure it out as I go. Improvisation is the refuge of the unprepared, she replied, executing a perfect spinning attack that eliminated 5 opponents simultaneously. Are those who prepare for the unexpected, Goku countered, shifting his tactics as the shadow entities began adapting to their attacks. They reached a massive doorway carved with intricate draconic symbols, now partially shattered by void energy. Beyond it, a spiral staircase descended into the island's crystalline heart. The sanctum entrance, Kata declared, sheathing her blades as the last shadow wolf dissipated. Once sealed by ancient magics, now compromised. Lyra caught up to them, her scanner emitting urgent signals. The dimensional breach is expanding below us. Whatever the void wants, it's getting closer. The heart chamber lies at the bottom, Kata said grimly. We must. Her words cut off as the staircase before them distorted, reality itself bending unnaturally. From the warped space stepped a slender female figure unlike any they had encountered. She appeared mostly human, with pale skin and silver-white hair that moved as if underwater, defying gravity and time. Her eyes shifted colors continuously, and around her head orbited small crystalline structures like a fragmented halo. Her simple white robes seemed to phase slightly in and out of existence. 3 paths converge, she announced in a melodic voice that echoed strangely, as if coming from multiple moments simultaneously. The warrior of prismatic light, the dragon princess of fading bloodline, the scientist seeking patterns in chaos. Kata drew her blades instantly. Another void creature wearing pleasing form. No, the woman replied calmly. I am Alara, keeper of temporal threads, last of the time witches. Her kaleidoscopic eyes fixed on Goku. And you are late, final warrior. Or perhaps early. Time grows difficult to read as realities fracture. Goku studied her curiously. You're not from this dimension. I exist between moments, beyond conventional timelines. Alara explained, her voice simultaneously ancient and youthful. I have watched you, final warrior. Or rather, I will watch you, have watched you, I'm watching you. She smiled at her own confusing phrasing. Tenses become problematic when viewing time non-linearly. Lyra's scientific curiosity visibly overrode her caution. You perceive multiple timelines simultaneously. All possible paths, Alara confirmed, though they grow fewer as the void consumes potential futures. Which brings me to my purpose. She turned to Kata. Dragon Princess, your heart's corruptee. On began before the shadows came, poisoned by doubt and abandoned tradition. Kata bristled. You know nothing of our ways, time witch. I know that 3 generations past, your ancestors ceased the blood communion ritual that renewed the heart's connection to the Ryujin soul. Alara's many-colored eyes narrowed. Pride made you vulnerable to the void's infiltration. Enough riddles, Goku interrupted, sensing Kata's growing anger. Why are you here, Alara? The time witch's expression softened. To warn you. The Void Herald who leads this assault is unlike others you will face. She was ONC. Human, an astronomer named Nyx who observed the darkness between stars until it observed her back. Alara's form flickered momentarily, and she is particularly interested in you, Final Warrior. In me. Why? Your energy signature resonates across multiple realities, Alara explained. Where most beings exist as singular notes in the cosmic symphony, you are a chord that reverberates through the dimensional framework. The void hungers for such uniqueness. A tremendous crash from below interrupted them as the spiral staircase began to collapse. The heart chamber, Keita cried, leaping toward the crumbling stairs. Wait, Goku called, but the dragon princess had already disappeared into the darkness below. Alara's form began to fade. Follow her, Final Warrior. But remember, destruction is not always the answer to darkness. Sometimes, understanding is the greater weapon. Her eyes locked with his one final time. We will meet again, when time streams converge at the shattered point. With those cryptic words, she vanished completely, leaving behind only a faint shimmer in the air. Well, that was productively mysterious, Lyra muttered, adjusting her scanner. But her temporal distortion readings were fascinating. If I could just. Later, Goku said firmly, lifting her again. We need to catch Keita before she reaches whatever's waiting below. He leapt into the stairwell, descending rapidly through collapsing architecture. Crystal shards fell around them as the entire structure began to destabilize. At the bottom, darkness pooled like liquid shadow, occasional flashes of crimson light pulsing within its depths. They landed on a small platform overlooking a vast spherical chamber. At its center floated an enormous crystalline object, like a heart constructed of living crystal, pulsing with amber light that grew steadily dimmer with each beat. Dark veins had spread across its surface, feeding void energy into its core. Keita stood before it, blades drawn, facing a floating female figure surrounded by churning darkness. Unlike the formless herald from Lyra's world, this entity maintained a mostly human appearance, a tall woman with alabaster skin and hair like spilled ink that moved with unnatural life. Her eyes were pure darkness with pinpricks of red light at their centers. Princess Keita, the figure greeted in a voice like velvet over broken glass. Last of the Ryujin royal line. How fitting that you witness your reality's final heartbeat. Void Witch, Keita snarled, your corruption dies with me. She launched herself at the floating figure, blah. Day singing through the air, but the herald merely gestured, sending Keita crashing into the chamber wall with a pulse of void energy. Your ancestors understood sacrifice, the herald continued as if uninterrupted. They fed the dragon heart with their own essence, maintaining dimensional stability through blood communion. But modern Ryujin, she laughed softly, too civilized for ancient ways, too proud to admit their reality weakens. Quote, Goku set Lyra down on the platform, whispering, stay here, before dropping silently to the chamber floor. The herald turned immediately, her dark eyes widening slightly. The resonant one arrives. Something like pleasure colored her voice. I am Nyx, Void Herald of the Seventh Veil, and you are deliciously out of place in the cosmic framework. Step away from the heart. Goku commanded, reality key flowing around his hands. Nyx smiled, revealing teeth too sharp for a human mouth. Your energy calls to the void, Final Warrior. A song too beautiful to resist. She drifted closer, darkness trailing behind her like a living cloak. You fight against universal entropy while carrying the power of creation itself. Such delightful contradiction. Goku maintained his distance, circling to position himself between Nyx and the wounded Keita. I won't let you consume this reality. Consumption is merely transformation, Nyx replied, gesturing toward the corrupted heart. This reality was dying long before I arrived. The Ryujin severed their spiritual connection to their dimensional anchor, allowing entropy to take root naturally. Keita pushed herself upright, golden blood trickling from a cut on her brow. Lies. The heart weakened only when your shadows came. The shadows came because the heart weakened, Nyx corrected. The void is draw, WN to decay, to potential that will never be realized. Her dark gaze returned to Goku. Just as it is drawn to you, Final Warrior. You carry unrealized potential like a beacon across dimensions. From the platform above, Lyra called down. Goku. The dragon heart's deterioration is accelerating. Dimensional collapse in approximately 12 minutes. Nyx laughed, a sound like shattering crystal. The little scientist is correct. Soon, this reality will join the Void's collection. Another failure of the cosmic experiment. Not if I can help it, Goku declared, dropping into a fighting stance. You cannot help it, Nyx replied. Her form expanding as darkness flowed from the corrupted heart into her body. The Void has already consumed 1/3 of this realm's outer territories. The process is irreversible. With frightening speed, she launched toward him, void matter extending from her fingers into razor-sharp talons. Goku dodged the initial assault, countering with a reality key-infused punch that connected solidly with her midsection. Unlike the formless herald he'd fought previously, Nyx had substance, though her body seemed to absorb the impact, dispersing energy throughout her void matter form before reconstituting. She hissed in pain but quickly recovered, launching a barrage of shadow projectiles that forced Goku into defensive movement. You're different from the other herald, he observed, deflecting the shadow attacks with precisely controlled bursts of energy. I retain my consciousness, Nyx acknowledged, circling him with predatory grace. Most heralds surrender their individuality to the void. I negotiated better terms. She attacked again, this time splitting into multiple shadow forms that assaulted from all directions. Goku responded with a spherical energy barrier, forcing the shadow duplicates back, but the effort drained his still unfamiliar reality key reserves more quickly than expected. On the platform above, Lyra worked frantically with her instruments, calling down. The heart's corruption is spreading in a quantum wave pattern. If you can generate a counter frequency. Her advice was cut short as a shadow tendril lashed up from the darkness, wrapping around her ankle. Lyra cried out as void energy began crawling up her leg, corrupting organic matter into shadow. Lyra, Goku shouted, immediately abandoning his battle with Nyx to teleport to the platform. He grabbed the shadow tendril, channeling purifying reality key through it. The darkness crystallized, allowing him to shatter it before the corruption spread further. Are you okay? He asked urgently. Lyra nodded shakily, examining her leg where a small patch of skin had turned gray-black. Contained for now, but Goku, the heart is the priority. Below, Nyx had returned to the massive crystal heart, placing both hands upon its surface. Darkness flowed from her into the already corrupted crystal, accelerating its transformation. Your compassion is your weakness, final warrior, she called up to him. Sacrificing tactical advantage to save one insignificant life. Keita, meanwhile, had dragged herself to the base of the heart, her scaled hand pressed against the diminishing amber sections. Ancestors forgive me, she whispered, before plunging one of her elemental blades directly into the crystal surface. The entire chamber shuddered violently as the blade's fire energy surged into the heart, temporarily halting the corruption spread. Keita screamed as golden energy flowed from her body into the blade, her scales fading from vibrant copper to dull brown. The blood communion, Nyx observed with genuine surprise. The princess remembers the old ways after all. Goku understood immediately what was happening. Keita was sacrificing her own life force to momentarily stabilize the heart. It wouldn't last long, but it gave him an opening. Lyra, he said urgently, if the heart is this reality's anchor, can my reality key purify it completely? She checked her scanner, wincing at the readings. Theoretically yes, but the corruption is too widespread. You'd need to purify every molecule simultaneously, or the void contamination would simply spread from untreated areas. Goku thought quickly, watching as Keita weakened visibly, her life force draining into the heart. What if there was a way to amplify my energy throughout the entire crystal at once? Lyra's eyes widened. The fractal structure. The heart is geometrically perfect, each segment a mathematical reflection of the whole. If you could introduce your energy at precisely the right point. The resonance node, Goku finished. Newfound cosmic knowledge integrating with Lyra's scientific insight. Where would it be? Lyra's fingers flew across her scanner, calculating based on crystal structure and energy flow. There, she pointed to a specific junction where several crystal veins intersected near the heart's core. That's your target, but you'll need tremendous power concentrated in an incredibly precise manner. And you'll have to get past me, Nyx added, having overheard their conversation. The Void Herald floated upward to their platform, her form now massive and distorted with absorbed darkness. The void has claimed this reality. Your interference ends now. She struck with overwhelming force, void tendrils lashing out to ensnare both Goku and Lyra. Goku erected a hasty barrier, but Nix's enhanced power shattered it instantly. A tendril wrapped around his throat, void energy burning against his skin as it attempted to unravel his very existence. Your resonance is exquisite, Nix purred, drawing him closer. The void will savor your unique energy for eons. Through the choking darkness, Goku glimpsed Kata still connected to the heart, her life force nearly depleted. Lyra frantically worked her scanner despite shadow matter crawling up her arms. The dragon heart's amber light had dimmed to a bare flicker. Something the cosmic entity had told him during his TRANS formation echoed in his mind. Reality Key was the fundamental energy that maintained the structure of existence itself. If that was true, then perhaps, fighting through the void corruption attempting to consume him, Goku reached deep within himself, past his familiar ki, past even the reality key he'd been learning to control, to something more fundamental. At his core, where the crystal and Nexu's of reality key pulsed in rhythm with his heart, he found what he sought, pure creative potential, the essence of existence itself. Kaioken times 10, he shouted, combining his old technique with this newfound energy. The result was cataclysmic. Prismatic energy exploded outward from his body, burning away Nix's shadow tendrils and forcing her back with a shriek of pain. The power surge was unlike anything Goku had experienced, not destructive like his traditional transformations, but creative, restorative, purifying. Impossible, Nix hissed, her form destabilizing as reality key burned away layers of void corruption. Goku, Lyra called, her voice strained as she fought her own contamination. The heart. Now, with Nix temporarily incapacitated, Goku teleported directly to the resonance node Lyra had identified. Kata hung limply from her embedded blade, nearly drained of life. Her eyes fluttered open as he appeared beside her. Finish what I started, she whispered. I will, Goku promised. And I'll save you too. Summoning every ounce of his enhanced reality key, Goku plunged his hands into the crystal heart at the precise resonance point. The sensation was indescribable, K touching the foundation of reality itself. Through the crystal matrix, he could feel the entire dimension, every island, every dragon warrior, every particle of this unique existence. He could also feel the void corruption, spreading like poison through the heart's crystalline veins. Working instinctively, Goku sent pulses of reality key through the fractal structure, creating a harmonizing resonance that amplified his energy throughout the entire heart simultaneously. The corrupted areas began to crystallize, void matter transforming into pure crystal as his energy purged the contamination. But the process was slower than expected. The corruption ran deeper than even Lyra's scans had detected. It's not enough, Goku realized, feeling his enhanced energy already beginning to wane. Because you fight against the heart's nature, came Nix's voice as she recovered, floating down to hover nearby. Though wounded, the Void Herald still radiated malevolent power. The dragon heart requires sacrifice, willingly given life force. That is the secret the Ryujin forgot. Kata stirred weakly. She speaks truth. The ancient communion, willing sacrifice. Goku understood suddenly. Ed's freely given energy, not just purification. He made his decision instantly. Maintaining contact with the resonance node, Goku began channeling not just reality key, but his own life force into the heart. The drain was immediate and severe, far more intense than even the most powerful Kaioken. But as his energy flowed into the crystal, the purification process accelerated dramatically. Goku! No! Lyra shouted from above, her scanner displaying his rapidly declining life signs. You'll kill yourself. Fascinating, Nix observed, making no move to interfere. You would sacrifice yourself for a reality not your own. For people you've just met. Goku didn't waste energy responding. The drain intensified as the heart absorbed more of his life force, but the corruption was receding, crystal v. Eins returning to amber brilliance as void matter crystallized and shattered throughout the massive structure. His vision began to blur, strength fading. But as he weakened, something unexpected happened. Kata's hand closed over his. Her remaining life force joining with his in the communion. Not alone, she managed, her draconic features softening with unexpected compassion. Their combined energy accelerated the heart's purification, amber light pulsing stronger with each passing second. From the platform above, Lyra's voice called out readings that grew increasingly positive, though Goku could barely hear her through the roaring in his ears. As consciousness began to slip away, Goku felt another presence join the communion, not offering life force, but stability. Nyx had placed her hand alongside theirs on the crystal surface. Curious, the Void Herald murmured, her voice somehow reaching Goku through their connected energies. I wish to observe this outcome. Her void nature paradoxically stabilized the purification process, creating balance between opposing forces. The dragon heart pulsed brighter, corruption retreating rapidly as three fundamentally different energies, creation, life, and void, found momentary harmony. With a final, blinding pulse, the heart shed its remaining corruption, returning to pristine amber crystal that bathed the chamber in warm light. The shish-ok wave of purified energy knocked all three of them backward, breaking their connection to the heart. Goku collapsed to the chamber floor, dangerously depleted but alive. Nearby, Keita lay motionless, her scales now ashen gray. Nyx drifted several feet away, her form fluctuating unstably between human appearance and void matter. Lyra rushed down from the platform, scanning Goku immediately. You idiot, she muttered. Though relief colored her voice. Your life force is dangerously depleted. What were you thinking? Had to try. Goku managed, struggling to sit up. Lie still, she ordered, producing a small device from her bag that emitted a gentle blue field over his body. Cellular regeneration stimulator. It's not much, but it should help stabilize you. While Lyra treated him, Goku's attention turned to Keita. The dragon princess hadn't moved since the purification wave. Is she? Lyra followed his gaze, her expression grim. I don't know. Her physiology is completely different from anything in my database. She lives, came Nyx's voice, drawing their attention. The Void Herald had stabilized somewhat, though her form remained partially translucent in places. Barely. The communion nearly drained her completely. Why did you help us? Goku asked, wincing as Lyra's device sent uncomfortable tingles through his depleted body. Nyx tilted her head, an unnervingly man gesture from a being of living shadow. I told you, I retain my consciousness, unlike most heralds. My astronomer's curiosity persists. She drifted closer, examining him with those pinprick red eyes. You interest me, final warrior. You shouldn't have been able to purify the heart, yet you found a way. By nearly killing himself, Lyra interjected protectively. Yes, Nyx agreed. Sacrifice. The foundation of this reality's metaphysics, and perhaps, her gaze intensified, the key to understanding your unique resonance. A low groan interrupted them as Keita stirred, her eyes fluttering open. Though severely weakened, color had begun returning to her scales, shifting from ash gray to pale copper. The heart, she whispered. Purified, Goku confirmed, managing a tired smile. Keita's gaze shifted to Nyx, instantly alert despite her weakness. The void which still lives, and has proven more complex than expected, Lyra noted, eyeing Nyx cautiously. She aided the purification process. Temporarily, Nyx clarified. This reality interests me now, particularly its connection to the final warrior. Her form began to dissolve into shadow particles. We will meet again, Resonant One. The void still hungers for what you represent. Wait, Goku began, but Nyx had already dispersed, shadow matter slipping away through minute cracks in the chamber walls. Keita struggled to sit up, pride overcoming weakness. Can she return? Threaten the heart again? Not immediately, Lyra answered, consulting her scanner. The dimensional boundaries have re-stabilized completely. This reality is secure for now. The chamber shuddered suddenly, but not from danger. The heart was pulsing with renewed strength, sending waves of purified energy throughout the dimension. Above them, they could sense the fortress responding. Crystal damage healing as the heart's energy spread. The dimensional healing has begun, Keita observed with wonder. You fulfilled the prophecy, Prismatic One. Goku shook his head. We did it together. Your sacrifice was just as important. As was the Void Witch's intervention, Keita admitted reluctantly. Though her motives remained suspect. Lyra helped Goku to his feet, supporting him as he swayed slightly. Nyx presents a fascinating anomaly. A void herald who maintains independence and curiosity. That contradicts everything we understood about void corruption. She said the void is drawn to unrealized potential, Goku recalled. And to me specifically. Your multidimensional resonance, Lyra mused. Exactly what Alara mentioned. Keita pushed herself upright, her warrior's discipline overcoming physical limitations. The Time Witch's warnings make more sense now. The void doesn't just consume randomly, it targets specific realities, specific beings. Which means my presence might actually endanger dimensions I'm trying to protect, Goku realized, the implications settling heavily upon him. Before they could discuss further, the chamber filled with dragon warriors led by the council elders. The ancient white-scaled leader approached Keita immediately, concern evident in his ancient features. Princess, the heart pulses with strength we haven't felt in generations. Yet you are greatly diminished. The blood communion was necessary, she replied formally. The prismatic one completed what I began. The elder turned to Goku, examining him with eyes that held millennia of wisdom. You have saved our reality, final warrior. The prophecy spoke true. His gaze shifted to Lyra. And the science worker proved her worth as well. The dragon sovereignty stands in your debt. Lyra bowed slightly. Your reality's fractal structure is mathematically perfect. It was an honor to help preserve it. There is much to discuss, the elder continued, but first. You must rest and recover. The heart's chamber has healed your most critical energetic damage, but true recovery requires time. As if to emphasize his point, Goku's legs nearly buckled. Lyra steadied him, concern evident in her violet eyes. He's right, she said softly. You expended dangerous amounts of life force. Even with your extraordinary physiology, you need recovery time. Goku wanted to protest that they should return to the Nexus, track Nyx, understand what she had revealed about the void's nature, but exhaustion overwhelmed his determination. For once, he had reached his limit. A short rest, he conceded. Keita stepped forward, her own movements stiff with lingering weakness. You will be honored guests in the royal chambers. When you have recovered, there's much I would ask about other realities, and about this void that threatens all dimensions. As they were escorted from the heart chamber, Goku noticed a subtle change in how the dragon warriors regarded them, particularly Keita. Where before there had been deference to her royal status, now there was genuine respect bordering on reverence. Her willing sacrifice in the blood communion had transformed her in her people's eyes. The fortress had indeed begun healing itself, crystal structures regenerating as the heart's renewed energy flowed throughout the dimension. Outside, the copper sky had cleared of shadow tendrils, revealing a breathtaking array of floating islands reconnecting through bridges of light. They were given adjoining chambers in the fortress's highest tower, with panoramic views of the remarkable dragon realm. Healers attended them, applying crystalline compounds that accelerated recovery while providing nourishment directly through skin absorption. After the healers departed, Lyra entered Goku's chamber. Scanner in hand. Your energy readings are stabilizing, but slowly. That was incredibly reckless, you know. Goku smiled tiredly from where he reclined on a crystal-lined bed that somehow adjusted perfectly to his body. It worked though. Yes, but at what cost? She sat beside him, genuine concern breaking through her scientific detachment. You can't save the Ultiverse if you sacrifice yourself in the first few realities you visit. I'm still learning this final warrior stuff, he admitted. The power is different from anything I've used before. It's not just about getting stronger or fighting harder, it's about finding balance. Lyra's expression softened. Balance. That seems to be the key concept emerging from our experiences so far. She glanced at her scanner. The way you, Keita, and even Nyx created stability through opposing forces, it contradicts conventional quantum theory, yet the results are undeniable. Nyx is different from the first herald I fought, Goku noted. Turning serious, she has her own goals, her own curiosity. And she said the void is specifically drawn to me. Your multidimensional resonance, Lyra agreed. I've been analyzing the readings. Your energy signature exists partially in multiple realities simultaneously, a quantum impossibility that somehow works. That makes you uniquely visible across dimensional boundaries, including to the void, Goku concluded grimly. Yes, but it also means you're the only being capable of fighting it effectively. She hesitated, then added more softly, and perhaps finding what remains of your reality. Goku's expression shifted at the mention of his lost world. Do you think it's possible that they're still out there somewhere? The multiverse is infinite, Lyra replied carefully. If your reality experienced a dimensional collapse rather than complete destruction, fragments could theoretically exist within the interdimensional framework. Scattered, but potentially recoverable. Hope and determination mingled in Goku's eyes. Then I need to keep going. Keep learning how this final warrior power works. After you rest, Lyra insisted firmly. A knock at the chamber door interrupted them. Keita entered, her scales having regained much of their copper luster, though she moved with lingering stiffness. She had abandoned her battle armor for simpler attire. That nonetheless marked her royal status. Your strength returns quickly, prismatic one, she observed with grudging approval. Saiyan physiology, Goku explained. We get stronger after recovering from serious damage. Fascinating evolutionary adaptation, Lyra murmured. Keita's head tilted curiously. Saiyan, you spoke before only of being the final warrior. It's what I was before, Goku explained. A warrior from a race called Saiyans. My reality experienced what Lyra calls a dimensional collapse. Everyone I knew was scattered across the multiverse. And you seek to find them while fighting the void, Keita concluded. Newfound respect in her amber eyes. A worthy dual purpose. What about you? Goku asked. Your people called you the last of your bloodline. Something vulnerable flickered across Keita's normally stoic features. The Ryujin royal line thins with each generation. I am the last who carries enough dragon blood to commune with the heart. She straightened, pride reasserting itself. Which makes my duty clear. To preserve your reality, Lyra supplied. To preserve my bloodline, Keita corrected. Today's events proved what our ancestors knew, the heart requires. Blood communion to maintain dimensional stability. Without descendants who carry the Ryujin essence, our reality will eventually destabilize again. The implications hung in the air between them. Kaida's duty was to produce heirs, a responsibility that clearly weighed heavily upon the warrior princess. Before the conversation could continue, a crystalline chime sounded throughout the fortress, an alarm, but not of danger. Outside, the copper sky rippled as dimensional energy concentrated at a specific point. A dimensional portal forms, Keita observed, moving to the window. Lyra checked her scanner. Similar energy signature to the Nexus, but there's something else. A temporal distortion. The rippling energy coalesced into a glimmering doorway hovering between two floating islands. Through it, they glimpsed not the cosmic nexus, but a lush, peaceful landscape of extraordinary beauty, gardens and waterfalls stretching to a horizon where multiple moons hung in formation. That's not the nexus, Goku said, pushing himself upright despite his weakened state. No, came a familiar melodic voice as Alara stepped through the portal onto one of the light bridges connecting the islands. Time Witch's silver-white hair flowed around her as if underwater, her kaleidoscopic eyes reflecting the copper sky. It leads to a sanctuary outside conventional time streams, a place where you can recover your strength before the next convergence point. Keita tensed visibly. Time Witch, you return with more riddles. With necessity, Alara corrected, her form flickering slightly as she approached their tower. Without touching the crystal stairs, she floated upward to their window. The void accelerates its consumption of realities in response to your success here. The pattern is escalating. Goku frowned. Because of me, my resonance. Partially, Alara acknowledged. But more concerning is what Nyx discovered during your communion with the dragon heart. The void now understands that balance, not destruction, is your true power, and it fears that understanding. Fears? Lyra questioned. You attribute emotion to a cosmic force. What is emotion but energy in specific patterns? Alara replied. Her kaleidoscopic eyes shifted to Goku. You require healing beyond what this reality can provide. In my sanctuary, time flows differently. You can recover fully while only moments pass in the cosmic framework. And we should trust you. Why? Keita demanded. Alara smiled. Now next. Blank. Blank. The end. Thank you for watching this video. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel and like this video.